And some people have made mods to make the game harder. I know. Like they. Nice. Nice.
That's good.
Hello.
Sorry.
Good, how are you? So, I'm trying to think,
Okay.
I know due diligence is there. The one thing I was thinking is, to agree with the contract is, if we don't fit it, it'll be
Oh, that's good. Oh, really? Yeah. That's what I thought I was gonna have to do. Nora does not have quite enough clothes right now, but we're right between the seasons and she's right between sizes. So like I refuse to buy anything new. I did get her, she's starting soccer soon. So I went to TJ Maxx to get her some soccer shorts and I found 2 cute like summer outfits in the next size up. And I'm like, I'm hoping it will fit this because the thing is for her, she's so skinny and tall that summer is actually the best because shorts, like
Hey guys, can you hear
she
us?
fits in shorts easily. So like she can wear sometimes she can wear like 8 shorts. Not really sadly, even though she's like a 4T in pants. Because like we just need it to fit around her waist. And so I happened to find that she had a it's more teal than green, but it's like a deep turquoisey teal color. And I was like, it's green. It's green. I was like, as long as she thinks it's green, that's all that matters.
Hello? Can you guys hear us?
Not too bad.
You're talking about getting people in real life after you've seen them on
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, we can hear you.
Can you guys hear us?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, you can't? Okay, okay, hold on.
I didn't know he was that tall. He came in after me and then Jessica was like, yeah, this is Andy. And I was like, oh.
You're not in.
All right, hold on. Natasha's switching it so you guys see us. I don't know why.
Yeah, they can see us here, but we need to mute so that they can't hear us. And-
No, you need to be unmuted. Otherwise they won't hear
Oh,
you
are they
present.
ready? Oh, okay.
Yeah, okay. Now the view has changed. Okay, so if you stand here, so as long as you stand in front of here, they'll see you. Do you want to screen share though? You want to screen share your presentation?
Yeah.
So it was fun. I was like, we gotta recreate that, girls. So you have 2 daughters?
Yes. Yeah, they were both of those were.
I'm guessing you were on
No,
here.
just you can just do screen.
Almost 6 years.
Where? The top left. So up one. Yep, that.
No, because that's the screen we're on. Hold on, no, right over here. And then it's gonna open up your presentation, right?
Yes.
Nope. Where is it? It's all the way to the left, the teal beige. And then we can go up at the top behind that, and it says present.
I even appreciate the moments where I have to like discipline her for specific things, and I'm like, thank you, God, for like giving me this opportunity to have to discipline her.
All right, guys, can you see the screen okay?
I didn't know I was gonna have her.
Yes. I don't know, can someone else speak? Because it sounds really low, and I want to make sure that we know when you're talking. Hello?
We can see everything. I can see everything.
Yeah.
I think our TV is just being really quiet today. Okay, well, guys, I'm going to kick it over to the amazing presenters. So enjoy. You'll see them on the small screen somehow, whatever. Okay, anyway, here we go.
What's really, really weird is you wanna look at there and talk, but when you're talking you're facing them by looking at the camera.
I know. It's gonna be a little.
Are you guys gonna rock it?
Standing frame up here.
These
I know.
ladies that are coming in are amazing. So enjoy the show.
You're so sweet. Thank you, Jessica, for having us. So Janine and I are here to help you as agents improve your brand, right? How do we do that? We're going to show you. So my name is Sheree Medeiros. I am the owner of First Impression Home Staging. I am a certified home stager. I'm sorry, I said that weird. I'm a certified home stager. My company is licensed and insured. We have workman's comp, so everybody is covered.
I'm Janine Matthews. Oh, the picture?
This way.
I'm in the picture.
There you go.
I'm Janine Matthews. I'm the owner and operator of JR Photography. I do real estate photography, videos, Matterport, and floor plan measurements. And we together are here to boost your brand.
Yes. So why does it matter? Number one, where are clients looking for us? For you, that is, online, right? We want to make sure that your pictures online represent you and your brand, and that those pictures look amazing, right? Number one priority. Next, I'll let you do the next one.
The other one I want to talk about is, well, open houses. When you're there and you're being your brand in an open house, you have everything around you that is representative of you, for better or for worse. And that's where Sheree comes in with her staging powers and puts together the perfect emotional experience for people coming into that open house.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And some of you actually got to experience that in real life, which was really cool, right? You walk in the door and people feel, you weren't there for that one. You walk in the door and instantly you guys were all, oh, wow.
Yep.
Guess what? Buyers are doing that too. And that's what we want.
Yep.
Okay. The next is we want you to think about the neighbors of those clients that you have, because guess what? They're all going to that open house,
Yeah.
right? And I'm sure Jessica has talked to you about how they come in and they're interviewing you silently, right?
Or maybe indirectly. They may be talking to you, but they're taking notes for sure.
Mhm.
And I know as a photographer, I have this experience probably once a week where I go in, and I'm sure you guys as agents have this too, where you're going in to do something, and it's like, what you doing? What's going on over there? And the neighbor is curious. And when you put together this amazing experience for your client, it affects the whole neighborhood. It entices the whole neighborhood too if it goes well.
Right.
So it's
Right.
one of the best ways you can network and create a lead generation system for yourself as an agent.
Absolutely. You want to take, what was the last one?
Yes. Well, it's kind of piggybacking off that.
Sure.
If you have a client that is just blown away by the service you give them, if you put together this beautiful presentation of their home online for people to see, they show it to their friends, people go, wow, and then you get this open house, you have this great offer scenario, the closing is great. That's the number one way you get lots of referrals following off of that first client. And we all know how referral driven this business is.
Absolutely.
And it is just such a difference. We have lots of examples, and I'm sure if you guys were at that open house, you know what I'm talking about. But that's the main thing. It's powerful. It's powerful.
So, first question to you is, would you believe if I told you that this was a $650,000 home?
Just looking at the photo.
No, right?
Why?
Why?
Yeah.
It looks like a basic home that is a bit smaller, bigger, but it doesn't have, well, what draws me in there?
Yeah. So for those of you on Zoom, in case you didn't hear, he had said that it doesn't have what you would think it would have for a $650,000 home. It looks basic. Any other comments? Or even on Zoom, if we can hear you, if you have a comment, like, feel free to shout out. I don't know if I'm even in the video. Am I?
The top picture is you guys.
Okay.
And I just see this,
I'm
the
actually
light
not
fixture,
in the
like that right there, is just,
The light fixture.
yeah, that's,
Mhm.
I mean,
Yep.
every Dan Ryan home that you see has that, and
Right.
so.
And we won't say its nickname, but we all know what it is.
Well, that's what, yes, y'all taught me something new.
They're not, it's not appropriate necessarily like for large rooms or for luxurious homes, right? We want something a little bit better. So how about now? Well, you guys can't see it because it's kind of in the way. Can you move the mouse like that
Yeah.
thing over a little bit? So give us just a moment, sorry. We're
We're rearranging our Zoom box.
Oh.
I'm sorry, I went forward by accident. Here we go.
There we go.
Okay.
So now we can see it. Okay, so how about now? Now does it look like a $650,000 home?
Can you do that to my office?
Well, that's right. That's the emotion, right? You're like, I want
Exactly.
that. That was
Exactly.
calling me in.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So what did I have the clients do to improve besides the staging? I had them change out the light fixture. It was simple. It was $159 from Home Depot. It wasn't that much, right?
Right.
So it's all about making a huge impact in the home. And that's what I do as a home stager. That's how I help people. Okay.
Also, the photo was better.
Oh, the photo is a little bit better, yes. Yeah, we want to go back to that. Yeah, I think the first one, I'm pretty sure was with my cell phone, right? So yeah, the second one much better. So again, so what's the secret to creating your brand? We are. Okay, we are your secret weapon. Okay, nobody needs to know about us necessarily. We're here for you. We're here to serve you. We're here to make you look like the hero. Okay. So I'm here to talk to you about what is home staging. Home staging is more than just bringing the items into the home and making it look pretty, right? It is the whole picture. It is everything from the front curb to the back fence, the top to the bottom, the inside and the out. Okay, I talk to my clients about all of that. What updates do they need to make, like changing a light to a ceiling fan, talking about paint colors, talking about maybe their furniture placement if they need to live there during listing. All of those things, everything about the home, their curb appeal, like I can go on forever and ever, right? I'm not a home inspector, so I'm not going to tell them about repairs. But if there's a big giant hole in the floor, I'm probably going to tell them they should have that completed, right? That part can be my job. I think those are obvious.
Mhm.
So when an owner is occupying the home during listing, we call it an owner-occupied listing, right? What I provide for them are two services. One is a home staging consultation. I bring a whole packet for them. It's got a home staging report, a bunch of things that I tell every client. There's an odor eliminator recipe. There is how to make your bed. There's a moving checklist, a moving survival box. There's all kinds of information in there for the client. How to get ready for showings and lots of things to give them that little extra value. Okay. And during that consultation, I spend about 2 hours with the clients doing all of those things I said a little while ago, right? Everything inside and out, front curb to the back fence, talking about all of that in detail. Now, I'm sorry, I forgot. So I was able to help this client here go from this, which is kind of a hodgepodge of, I don't know what's happening over here, and just too much furniture, to this.
Yeah.
You want to go back to that?
Yes.
From this to this. I got thumbs up from the audience. Yes. So,
Amazing.
Oh, I heard somebody on Zoom.
I said amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it makes a huge difference. So this was back, not in the crazy market, right? Things weren't necessarily going over lists at the time. But in the first 8 hours, this was kind of funny. In the first 8 hours, they had 8 offers and it went for 8,000 over list. Like it was kind of crazy at the time, right? When we just didn't have over list prices like we do right now. It's a little different. So, and I'll tell you some of the right now stories that are happening because staging is still important right now. I assure you. Yeah, even more important, I think. Okay. So vacant home staging. Vacant home staging is when people have the ability to leave the home so that I can come in and bring everything. So I have a warehouse of inventory that includes furniture, art, and accessories. We have professionally trained stagers. We know how to pull that emotion, right? So for those of you that saw the home in person, you know the emotion that you got, right? You got it from some of the pictures you can see. I want that office, right? So I'm gonna switch with you here so that I can see my notes because I don't want to mess it up. So the first thing that happens is I submit a proposal. When I submit that proposal to the client or to you, depending on where your commission, what you're doing there, right? If you're doing the 6 or 7% commission, whoever is getting that, I'm going to try to give 2 to 3 options. It really kind of depends on the home. Sometimes it's just there's really only one option, right? It's just these 3 or 4 rooms and that makes the most sense. That's what we're going to do. So I put together the proposal. After that, I send out the contract. And then in that contract, we have credit card authorization so that everything is handled right up front. Okay. Then comes the bigger part of the work. Before we even step in the door, we are doing the designing, we are doing the picking and the pulling and the packing and the loading of the truck. Okay, that takes probably about 6 to 10 design hours. Okay, then we've got stage day. Stage day is about 20 to 24 man hours because there's a crew of probably about 4 of us and we're probably there for 4 to 5 hours. Okay. After that, then that proposal that I talked about also includes de-staging the property. Okay, and that's another how many hours? 12 to 15 total hours. These are all kind of rough estimates. So you can see how much work is happening before, during, and after. Okay, I understand that home staging isn't cheap, but it's a fraction of what they're going to of the return. It is a fraction. Okay, I'm going to talk about a few success stories and some of the others. As you saw, the 8,000 over list, they got their money back. That was a consultation and photo prep that was under $1,000. They made 8,000. Hello, my clients make more money than me. This is a problem. I need to fix this. So here's a perfect example of a vacant home. This is, as you can see, a listing photo. Okay, this was in Cary. It sat for 2 months with no offers.
Cary.
Wow.
In Cary,
Yeah.
it was priced in the low 4s. Okay, nothing should sit in Cary in June in the low 4s. Nothing. I talked to the homeowner and she says, well, this kitchen should sell the home. I don't want to have to do all these repairs. I'm like, okay, but did it? No. So I came in with my contractor and I said, these are all of the things that buyers are going to want to have fixed. Give me a price for all that. $15,000. So really glad I had the homeowner on the phone because when I gave her the price of the punch list, pretty sure she was going to punch me if we were in person, right? To hear $15,000. And I said, this is what your buyers are seeing though. This is the actual cost. But in their heads, they're probably thinking $15,000, $20,000, $30,000, right? So, and again, I got but we put so much work into that kitchen and it looks beautiful. And I said, you're right, it is beautiful, but let's get the rest of the home to match that kitchen, right? I'm hoping you can see like just how pretty that kitchen is because it's beautiful, right? But what do we see in this picture? Anybody like here can point out one thing or even on Zoom if you've got if you've got something.
Just that space is hard to figure out. I don't know.
Yeah, the space is hard. Yeah, the space is hard to figure out. You might be able to see it on Zoom a little bit easier, but the popcorn ceiling,
I wondered if that was popcorn.
it is, it's popcorn ceiling and it's kind of an outdated ceiling fan, right? And so when you're looking at the online pictures, like you kind of look through everything and it's just, okay, it's just okay, right? So what I told them to do, I said, listen, like I'm gonna give you some priorities. There's 3 things that you need to do. There was painting one room. There was literally painting a simple piece of brass that was on the fireplace and and taking out some broken shutters in the bathroom. They were literally falling off the wall. I said, no. A house with a beautiful kitchen like that should not have shutters that are falling off the wall. Let's fix that. Let's just remove those, okay? So her repairs, let's put it that way, with less than $1,500. Okay, so her all in with the repairs and the staging was under $5,000. Okay, we took it from that to this. Okay, we didn't make any changes necessarily that you can see in this photo, but our eye is no longer going to the ceiling fan, it's going to the room, and now we're understanding how to use the space, right? And our buyers are drawn in and they get it now. Okay, they relisted the home the Saturday after Thanksgiving, and by 2 p.m. they had their first offer. So she was suddenly a believer after hemming and hawing for a little while and like, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do this. But she finally did it at the, at the urgency of her agent. So that was good. It's a huge difference there. Okay. This is not a listing photo. Don't worry. But this is a before picture, right? But I do want to bring up that we want to make sure, whether you use me or not as a home stager, do not put any kind of timestamp on those photos, because if this photo they listed on Christmas Eve, come January 14th, it's only 2 weeks, but in their heads, the buyers are thinking, how long has this listing been active, right? It's that mental note, right? And plus it adds to the clutter that's in the background, okay? And the visual clutter that is. So another problem with this room was that they had this giant entertainment center, that big console, right? It's taking up so much space. It doesn't really look like a very big room, right? So clients are thinking, how am I going to fit here? Like, this is a little too tight. I don't know. I'm not feeling it here, right? If we had left their items in. They were fortunate and they had the ability to move out because their new home build was already ready. And I convinced them, because they wanted to leave some of their stuff behind, and said, can you use our stuff to stage it? And I said, you know what? Why move twice? It's not going to save you any money, because the staging price isn't going to change, because now you're going to have to pay a little more for the design, because now I have to design around your furniture. So don't do that. Just move out once. Prior to making that comment, the wife was like this, kind of the whole time, like, I don't know. But after I said, you only have to move once, she relaxed. She was like, okay, you can stage the whole house. So I was like, phew, did it. So sometimes I have a way with people, like, to help them understand what really is the best scenario for you. I'm not here to charge you the most amount of money, right? I'm charging you for the service, but again, you're going to make more money than me, so I'm still doing something wrong for my business, but I'm here to help you as the seller. I'm here to help you get your house sold and get it sold for more money. So what did we do? We showed people how big that room really was.
Yeah, what a difference.
Right? Huge difference. Getting a little is there.
I want you to come to my house. But here's something that happened with a home that I had a not professional stager come in, and she did a good job for a not professional stager. But we took the TV off the wall, and so many people had trouble seeing where the TV would go.
Sometimes they do, but I put a piece of art usually above the mantle to help suggest that that's where it goes. So I would rather see a piece of art than have this big black box. Because a big black box is just not pretty, and she could probably tell you, does it photograph well?
Oh, good. That's very good. That's good information to be able to tell the client.
That was a good guess on my part. Not the professional photographer. This is why I have her.
My trouble with having the TV on the wall, well, sometimes, especially if it's mounted, you have the whole fixture discussion with the TV mount because it needs to stay. And I get sad when I see the TV mount on the wall with no TV. So to me, it's better to, if the TV mount is there and it's staying, put something over the TV mount, preferably a piece of art with some depth to the canvas so that you can still get the design effect without having to worry about the fixture. So that would be the ideal scenario. And the other thing it's like a big black box, like you said, oftentimes it's shiny. It's just it's not nearly as appealing as the art that can go up for a week or two and then you can take it back down when you destage.
Very smart. We didn't put a piece of art on the wall, so that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Yep.
And when you're showing, if that bracket is a fixture and it's appealing, like the mount's here, you don't have to buy a mount, put it on the wall. I would just mention that it's under the art. That way you still get the pretty picture and the design effect.
True.
That's why I'm going to hire you, because I am not an expert in this.
Yeah, we go through a lot of training. Like it's quite intense, and I traveled to another company to get that hands-on experience, and I learned so much. Like I thought I was going to go into this training, I know what I'm doing. I've bought and sold some houses. I had great success. Now I look at those pictures and I'm like, oh.
Wow.
That's okay. So I've learned so much just over the years. It's been amazing. So what's next? Okay, so a few staging tips. All the things you need to know that you didn't know you needed to know. Dang it, I thought I was gonna get it right the first time and I didn't. So not your typical staging tips that I'm gonna give you, right? We all know that our clients need to edit. We all know that we need to neutralize and fix and do all those things. But I want to share a couple of other little things that you should probably know. Choosing the right paint color, okay? Agreeable gray does not work in every home. Did you guys hear me on Zoom? Please, agreeable gray just doesn't always work. Number one, gray is kind of fading out in the design world. So we got to start getting used to some other colors that will work, okay? Agreeable gray sometimes looks blue or purple, depending on the home, and sometimes it looks dirty. So we want to avoid that, okay? Number one. Number two, this is that same house that I talked about that didn't sell with the kitchen. I had to use this same photo just because of the impact. It was Hershey syrup brown on the walls. It made the room look narrow and it was undefined. Nobody knew what it was. So afterwards, and I should have done 2 slides here, I thought I did, but afterwards we defined that space for the buyers so they knew what it was. You're like, oh, this is a home office. Because it was this weird room with double doors right off of the living room in the back of the house. And it was confusing. Like I didn't even know what it was at the time. I'm like, I don't know what this space is for. So we figured it out, and I said, this just needs to be a home office.
What's that thing you always tell me about paint?
Paint is money in a can. Thank you.
You're welcome.
It really is money in a can. Buyers love the smell of fresh paint.
Yes.
It's something that you can add to the listing, fresh paint throughout. Okay, when we have it neutralized, people will walk in and say, okay, it's all pretty neutral. I can still move in, even if they want like the bright colors, the bright reds or teal or whatever color they want, but they can still get moved in and be happy and feel like they can make their items work in there and then paint some of those rooms later. But at least they know they're walking into some fresh paint. Okay. And it's, again, it's one of those things that it's just gonna make you money. It's an investment worthwhile, for sure. Okay, another staging tip in the primary bedroom. I like to see the pillows straight up and down. Why? Because when the pillows are up and down, you're up and down, and it's kind of this happy Okay, welcoming, beautiful space, right? When the pillows are laying down, kind of laying down, and it just looks tired, and we don't want people to be sleepy, we want them to be awake, right? So a simple little staging tip for your clients, making sure that those pillows are straight up and down.
Fluff them too.
What's that?
Fluff them too.
Absolutely.
Fluff 'em a little bit.
Absolutely. Yeah, and another thing too is even the polyfill pillows that are not comfortable to sleep on actually look better in like the pillow shams, to put those up in the front as opposed to their really comfy slouchy feather pillows. They just don't work for staging. Okay. Next tip is creating a home office, especially hashtag COVID-19, right? Everybody's going to be working from home. I'm sure all of us here do, right? So we all need a home office. So let's turn some of those unused spaces, like living rooms. Maybe there's already a beautiful, breakfast nook and a dining room. Maybe that breakfast nook can be the formal dining area. Let's turn that dining room into a home office instead, right? It doesn't always make sense, but that's something when I go in to view the home, I can see that, and I will tell them, like, listen, it makes more sense to make this a home office than to make it a whatever it was, right? I tend not to change bedrooms into home offices simply because people can't necessarily revert that way. They can see a bedroom turned into a home office, but they can't see a home office turned into a bedroom. I'm not sure why. There's a psychology behind all of that, but that's just the case. They don't know how to flip that. So that's what we're trying to do, is we're trying to add that home office for people, especially right now, because that's why a lot of people do need to move, because they're able to work from home. Felt like I was going to say something else, and I forgot what it was.
It'll come to you.
Yeah, when it's too late. Okay, kitchen tip. This is not necessarily a tip, but this is a safety thing, okay? Please, if you don't do anything else, tell your clients to put the knife block away, okay? It is a safety issue, especially for the female agents. I don't know the statistics. I'm afraid to go look them up, but somebody told me recently that it still happens 3 to 4 times a year around the country, where female agents are stabbed to death in a home using the knives that are left there on the counter. It's scary. I literally have chills thinking about it. So if you do nothing else, please put the knife block away. Okay? Super important to me. Literally, I have chills. I can't get rid of them. Oh, I hate it. Okay, so why do we need a professional photographer? Because I'm not one. And if I'm not one, you're probably not one either, right? I can't do what you do. I can't do what she does, right? We are professionals in our fields. Take advantage of the professionals that are in our fields. With that, I'm going to hand over to Janine.
Thank you. So I wanted to give a little bit of information about my experience photographing homes here, but out of curiosity, and y'all on Zoom can chime in verbally too. We'll check the comments in a minute. How many listings do you guys say you do in an average year? Or if you guys are just starting, maybe you don't know, and that's okay, but. Just starting. Okay, so.
I'll go over to the comments. I forgot about the comments.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Sorry.
So I think, depending on how busy you are as an agent, you maybe have a couple. And if you're photographing them themselves, that's a couple of opportunities to practice. Even if you are love photography, you have a great camera and all that, it's only a couple of opportunities to practice. I photograph 15 houses a week, and I've been doing it for a couple of years. So I've photographed hundreds of houses. So just from the sheer volume of work I've done, I have a lot of experience, and I can easily know what to look for and produce something like that first picture that was on the slide prior. That's okay. I noticed it moves it moves the presentation when we check Zoom. That's okay.
Oh.
So I mean,
Gotcha.
Cherie did a good job with her tools on the first side, but I have more tools and a lot more practice, and I can do that pretty quickly, which is convenient for everybody.
Absolutely.
So, as I've said, my name is Janine Matthews, owner and operator of JR Photography. I do real estate services. I am a full package kind of real estate listing. I hesitate to use the word marketing, but I've got all the tools you need to make your MLS stand out. I do photography. I do real video walkthroughs, not slideshows. I go through with the gimbal and walk it through, put music to it, put the address, amenities, community features, contact info at the back. It's especially now when people are buying sight unseen, I highly encourage the video. I just got a phone call from an agent on Tuesday. I was at the listing and it was his first listing and he was like, people keep asking for video. Do you know what they want? I'm like, yeah, they want to see a walkthrough because he's like, I was like, are they sight unseen or are they in another state or something? And he's like, yeah. Can you do one real quick? I'm like, you're already active. It's going to take me a little while to do it. It doesn't take me long, but it doesn't take me 10 minutes. And I have to like edit it and everything. So took the moment. I was like, I'll do the cell phone for you since I'm literally standing here and you need something now. But this is a good point of education too. 48 hours before active is the best time for me to be there because I can have everything ready for you by the time you're ready to go active. The video is the longest thing it takes me to edit. I can usually do them in 24 hours, but usually there's feedback. Like maybe the agent wants a different song, or maybe they change their mind and they do want their phone number on there. Something like that takes me some extra time to add. So that's why I always recommend, I should be the last person in the house if we're working together. We'll talk more about our flow in a minute, but 48 hours before listing, going active on the MLS would be ideal. So anyway, that's video. I do Matterport tours. Does anyone know what Matterport is? Yeah, love those. They're exciting. Another great tool for your sight unseen buyers or out-of-state clients maybe who are coming in. And then finally, I do the floor plan measurements. So I provide you a floor plan drawn out, room by room, fixtures, windows, doors, stairs, toilets. It's all on there. I do it according to the NC Real Estate Commission. It's all compliant and good to go for you as agents. So that's me. And I think I'm the only one in the triangle who does all four of those things. So I try hard to be there for you. That way I can go in, take care of it. Your MLS listing is way better than everyone else's right out the gate.
Yeah. So as you can tell, I only do the best.
That's right.
Right. So one of the things that because there was 2 slides that looked the same, but I just wanted to point out
Yeah, I have anything to say about that.
Go for it.
Well, yeah, okay, we're on the right slide.
Okay,
I did make them look the same, I apologize.
that's okay.
So another thing I want you agents who are watching on Zoom, and for those of you who are here, another thing you can think about when you get MLS photography done professionally is you can use those photos multiple times. The biggest thing I think that doesn't quite come across your mind immediately is you can turn those images around for social media and advertising in your website. So that's something I'm happy to work with my agents. If I photograph your listing, put it on social media, make a Facebook ad with it. It's good on my end as long as it's good for your client. And I've never heard a client say no. So that's something you can think about. It's just an added benefit for sure. Yes.
So one thing that I was thinking about is was marketing, and if you had like a marketing thing that you offered for us who don't have listings right now, but we want to go past the stock photos and know where these photos came from, because I've posted a stock photo of a kitchen and someone was like, where's that at? And I'm like, call the club. So I don't do that anymore, but then my photography is not as good as your photography, and we are creating a brand.
Yep.
So I'm thinking like, do you have something that we could use, or?
I do. I can talk about it a little now and I get into in-depth at it at the end if you'd like. So yeah, I do have marketing things for realtors especially. I kind of call them like branding subscriptions. So I can work it out a couple of different ways depending on what you want as an agent. I work with people to develop goals and then put something together that makes sense. So I have photos. I also, since I'm around the triangle talking to different people, I have access to maybe some staged homes.
Yeah.
Some model homes.
Especially from some of your teammates, right? Because you can word it in a way that you say, oh, this was something listed by one of my teammates, and make it feel like it's still kind of one of yours.
Still part of your team.
Right? It is still part of your team.
Yep.
So you don't have to feel like you're saying that I'm brand new.
Yep. Yep.
Right? Because we know how frustrating that is, right? I've been in business, I'm just now starting my 3rd year, but let me tell you, like, my business boomed so fast.
Yeah.
In my first year, I assisted in the sale of nearly $20 million of real estate. in my first year, like when I'm kind of struggling. So once you get there, you guys are gonna take off, right?
Well, yeah.
Especially with having us on your team.
And to that point, if you're new, watching this as a new agent and you put some effort into a marketing strategy, especially on social media now, you're already in the habit when that boom happens.
Yes.
So you don't look like
true.
you fell off the wagon, guilty.
True.
And I mean, I think I posted on my Instagram today, I was like, y'all know I'm quiet because I'm busy, right? And everyone was like, you're so funny. And I'm like, but
Yeah.
I'm so guilty of it. But yeah, I have a whole bunch of photos I've taken around the triangle. So if your thing is like, I'm helping people relocate here, I'm also from here. So I can provide you just a wealth of stuff. I do headshots, lifestyle photos, all of that comes together for a marketing strategy.
Love it. Thank you.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so I want to point out something as well. We chose the photo, the third photo there. You'll notice that that was just a small snippet of one of the large photos.
Yep.
So like you can reuse that content and just make it look like a different picture
And if you need help with that,
all the time.
Crop Master can get you going.
Mhm.
Yeah,
So I think you talked about
I
all
did.
of those already, right?
I did.
Okay.
So I think we're coming up to my examples for the next slide. So did everyone here was in this particular house?
Nope,
No, this was a
we were
different
at
one.
Cromwell.
This was a different
This
one.
is a different open
Yeah.
house.
So these are just some examples of me and Shui coming together on the same project. This room was one of those, what do we do with this kind of spaces? It had old tile on the floor. I mean, it wasn't bad looking, but it looked like it was from 2005 or so. And
It's a little updated.
yeah, it's just a little outdated. Sheree came in and had this flash of inspiration. I was like, it's a sitting room that's also a sunroom. And I was like, amazing. Who doesn't want that when they're trapped in the house? And then especially because
right
we
now.
did this in February when it was cold and
Rainy.
sad outside like it is today. And
Dreaming of the sunshine and
Uh-huh.
it's not happening.
and
but
she
we
chose these
brought it
nice
in.
summery colors, and I was like, I get it. This makes me happy. And then on my end, what I do is like, okay, I want to show how window full this room is, and I want to show that there's a great ceiling fan, so you can use this room even if it's super sunny. I want to show that it's big enough to have this patio style furniture in it, so you can do whatever you want in there. But I also, in my strategy, and this is a tip for y'all too, photos tell a story. So I always try to tell a story with the flow of the house. So I always include the doors in the photo, so you know how the house is linked, where you're going.
Yeah, there's a few more pictures you want to talk about there. I don't remember what that was.
They're in the same house. There's the kitchen. The kitchen itself, this is me as a photographer, I kind of have learned that there's 5 kitchen layouts that are very common, and I can make them look as big and shiny as the next one if you need to. I think the last photo there is of I can't see because of the glare.
I know.
Oh, the dining room. You did such a good job with that dining room.
Oh, thank you.
It was one of those things where we had figured out the home office strategy. We had staged it as like the home office was across the hall.
Mhm.
So we still had this extra space, and we did it as a dining room.
I see it back there.
Yeah, so that's
Mhm.
good eye. That's what I'm hoping for. I want you to be able to see at least another room from every photo if possible.
Yeah. So one trick that we did, there's 2 tricks that I want to talk about actually in those photos. So I was really glad you chose those. But that dining room was a square room.
Mhm.
So because it was a square room, we made sure we brought the proper type of table,
Yes.
a round one or a square one, right? Because putting a rectangle or an oval shaped table in there,
It's gonna make the room feel small.
and people wouldn't be able to walk around. So we know, like, we've got to leave 36 inches walking space all around. We're very careful about that stuff so that our buyers, when they're walking through the home, they can actually get through
Mhm.
everything, right? Hence the not cluttered look,
Mhm.
okay? That's the first thing I want to point out. The second thing was the kitchen. Now, in this home, I did another one of those realtor open houses because this was kind of a perfect example where there was some outdated stuff. And if you remember when you guys went to the Cromwell house, I pointed out who noticed the dented appliances. And y'all looked at me like, what? And a couple like looked over, they're like, how did we not see that? I said, because I drew your eye away.
Mhm.
I didn't cover it up, I just drew your eye away. So when we were at this home, we were kind of standing right about where that picture is being taken. We were standing there at the end for probably 20 to 30 minutes.
Yeah. Mhm.
And finally, one of the agents points up and he says, that light fixture.
And he
It's
told
kind of
us,
blah,
and he
right?
told us after that, he's like, I'm like a hawk for these things. I
Yeah,
didn't see them right
He
away.
did.
And I mean, his eyes were like this big, and he was like, I get it. I understand
Yeah, he
now
goes,
because,
I wrote my offer 15 minutes ago,
yeah.
right? Remember that? Like it was funny. I'm like, you're absolutely right. Like we drew your attention away from that. Again, we didn't cover it up because I don't have a magic wand.
Yeah, but the light
Like,
was
I can't make
on
it go
too,
away.
so it wasn't like,
Yeah, and that was one thing that I did recommend to the homeowner, was to get some of those light fixtures updated. They chose not to. It's okay, right? Maybe because they didn't feel like the market justified that. That's fine, absolutely. But kind of knowing that ahead of time, that they may not, we need to make sure we're drawing attention away from those things. So I just wanted to bring those two up. So I was really glad you chose those two pictures.
Mhm. Okay, we're
I don't know
gonna
if you have
take
to.
a break. Yes, I'm gonna do it this way just to be safe. We're gonna jump out of our presentation and watch an example of a walkthrough video that I was talking about. I'm gonna bring down the volume just in case. It's super loud. Folks on Zoom, if this blasts you, please let us know. God, I've got so many things going on here. Didn't even tell you guys I have the drum.
Is that what you're?
Yeah. We're not gonna watch the whole thing, but just so you get an idea.
But this is that same home that we were just talking about.
Show off Shrews' beautiful staging.
I love in the video, she really is capturing that emotion, right? As you go through, you just can't help but be immersed in it.
Mhm.
And you want to make this your home.
And adding the video just puts it together in a different way than the photos do. And I recommend usually, like, some people are very into video, some people are very into Matterport, but we did both for this house. And I think there was a good strategy behind that.
It definitely paid off.
Mhm.
The home is under contract now, of
Mhm.
course. We destage it, I think, tomorrow. So we won't know how much over list this one went for, because I'm sure it went over list. It's a total guess,
Mhm.
because they listed it on Friday night, I think.
Mhm.
And I didn't hear any feedback about the staging right away. And I got a little bit nervous.
Mhm.
I'm like, oh, what's going on? I knew they were doing an open house on Saturday. So I'm like, okay, I'll wait. Still no feedback. Sunday night comes around. Still no feedback. I started to get really nervous. I thought, oh no, do I have my first dissatisfied customer? Like, I'm not, because usually I'll get right away, oh my gosh, the staging looks great,
Yeah.
this, that, and the other thing. And I wasn't getting anything. Well, I happen to be friends with the wife of the agent as well, and she texted me on a completely different subject. And I said, hey, by the way, your husband's not answering me. Like, how did that, like, did he like the house? Like, any feedback? And she says, Sheree, he's been on the phone for 48 hours straight, taking offers. He doesn't even have time to call you back.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, take that as a good sign. I guess it presented well.
Uh-huh.
So I finally did meet in person the homeowner the day that I did that open house. She happened to be there in the morning, and she was over the moon about it. And she gave me all kinds of feedback.
So sweet.
She was so sweet.
Mhm.
Yeah, and she had said that every single agent and homeowner that walked through complimented the staging.
Mhm.
And I hear that over and over again. So it's a really good feeling, and it's really given me the confidence to know that I am serving to the best of my ability,
Mhm.
right? Absolutely the best. And I've chosen amazing teammates, because I know this is gonna be hard to believe. This doesn't happen by just me. It is not just me. I have a team. There's about 10 of us everybody else is pretty much part-time to full-time, I guess. But I have a handful of stagers. I have a handful of people to pull from delivery crew. But they're all trained to know, and we work like, it's like butter. Like now that everybody is trained, we just flow and it works out really well. So I love my team. I absolutely love my team.
Let me speak a little bit about the video plus Matterport strategy before I take you through a Matterport. I'm sure some of us this might be new, but like I said, the video walkthrough is a real video. They vary in length a little bit, but I tend to think of those as like, if you're sending that video off to a buyer client, maybe that's somewhere else, can't see it, it's almost like a commercial. You know, you see the photos, you know the photos are interesting. You've already made some other determinations from looking at the Zillow, MLS, Realtor.com, whatever, wherever the first place you saw it was. But when you see the video, it's got the feeling to it, and that's something that Matterport does not have. So that's why I try to persuade and encourage that the video is not replaceable, especially if you're working for those folks who can't come have that experience live with you and you can't give that feedback. I'm happy to put comments in there all day. We didn't do that for this one, but I have those requests and I'll be like, oh, there's 12 windows in this room or something like that. So that's kind of the main reason why I will put packages together that include both. Now, having said that, we'll click through Matterport. Some feedback too, and another reason why I encourage both is video is a lot easier to watch on mobile than Matterport is to operate on mobile.
That is true.
So I won't click through the whole house because it was pretty big, but you get the impression. And you know, the nice thing about Matterport is you can do kind of like a self-guided tour. So this is a good follow-up on the video because I decide what's in the video, but the Matterport scan is the whole house and the viewer can decide what they want to go poke around in. So we'll go through that sunroom again. For those of you who might be new to Matterport, it's pretty cool. It's taking a minute to load on this big screen. But this is the gist. You click around. It's kind of like a self-guided tour.
So you didn't change the tile, you just added the rug, which made it.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So now that tile looked like it was outside pavers.
Yeah.
Which was cool.
So this is the gist. You can actually, you can look at the ceiling, you can look at the floor. Matterport grays out the tripod for me. Yeah, so this is Matterport. I won't go through the whole house like I said, but it's a nice feature. And then if this house had a pool outside, for example, I could have scanned the backyard too. If there was a reason to, I can do that. All right. We get back into presentation mode. All right, let's take a minute to check the Zoom comments.
Sure.
See if we've got anybody going on. Oh, just yes. Okay, good. All right.
I've got one thing.
Yeah.
It's more of a comment instead of a question, but it's I did a CE class a couple of years ago about like new trends and upcoming trends, and like the changing of the MLS photos. So like it used to be you could only upload like 10 photos and you could then it changed from 10 to 15 and now we're up to 30 and stuff like that. They said that like the more photos you have in there, the faster it'll sell.
True.
And then video and obviously now Matterport and stuff like that is the next trend that's going to come up there. So like I love the idea and I love what y'all are doing with all this. It's just going to be one of those things that helps set you apart from other agents that are not doing videos and stuff like that.
Yep, that's so true.
Winner.
Yep, you're right on the money there, Kyle.
Exactly. Thank you.
We appreciate the feedback and the
Was
compliments.
that Kyle Parker? Am I?
Yes, it is.
Oh, hey Kyle, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. I have a client that we're gonna be working with together.
Yes.
Oh,
I feel
yay.
like this really ties
So
well
I'm
in.
excited to work with you.
I have two more things to say before we
first
move into our.
I think somebody else is talking too. Was somebody else talking there? No.
I just put a comment in the comment section.
Go ahead and say it. It's easier for us to hear than it is to look at the comments, I think.
Sure. I said I'm also brand new to this and want to know the fees for your excellent services. They would come from the seller's budget, right? So our job is to convince them of the worth of these services, I'm assuming, not necessarily coming out of our commission.
Well, that all depends on you, I guess, right? If you're gonna be paying for it or if it's the client. Typically, the homeowners pay for most of my services. The home consultation is usually paid for as a courtesy by the agent to the homeowners. So that is $299. That is for the full 2 hours for me to be there, okay? A photo prep service, if they want to have me back to help them put all those finishing touches on, because that homeowner just doesn't really know what to do, that's gonna be on them, okay? And that is gonna depend on how many hours do I need to be there? Do I need to bring a little bit of inventory? Do they have kids and pets that I'm gonna be selective about the inventory I bring in, right? That's a whole different thing. So, but vacant home staging, that, just so that everybody knows, there is an industry standard that is 0.5% to 1% of the list price. That's kind of our goal. That's not how I price it necessarily, but I try to make sure that it lands in that number. Because if my bid or my proposal comes out too low, then that probably means I'm not doing a good enough job and I'm not justifying that investment in that home, right? I'm not gonna take $1 million home and price less than 0.5% because I'm not gonna be able to bring enough items in that home. It's probably bigger, it's gonna need nicer things, probably more than it's gonna need more things, it really is what it is. So I'm not doing that home any justice if that's the price point that I ended up in. Also, if my proposal comes out initially above that 1%, I'm probably staging too many rooms and it's not worth their investment. So I'm gonna try and remove some of those rooms. Or I'm gonna scale back and charge a little less per room because in the bedroom I can get away with just putting the bed and the nightstands and the accessories. I don't need to bring into that room because it's smaller, the dresser and the sitting area and whatever else is happening, extra lamps. It's not gonna take me as much time. So that is.
What if it's not big?
If it's not big, then it's an occupied home. And then that's just gonna depend on the home. Like how much do they need or do they need or they just need me to come back? So we're talking about two different services. So because you walked in a little bit late, the occupied home, I'm coming in to do the consultation and tell them everything, like all the updates that need to be made. And what I don't think I said, and forgive me for that, but I'm also telling them where to put their furniture, what furniture to get rid of, where to put their accessories, how to hang their art properly, because most people put it way too high, okay? Or too low, or
You recommend that they get rid of some things. How do people typically do that?
storage, or I'll hear, oh, good, because I've been wanting to get rid of that anyways. Yeah, so whatever it is that they want to do, get it moved over to their new house, however that happens, put it in the garage, right? I don't encourage you to have a overfilled garage, but buyers understand that you're moving.
Exactly.
And there's probably gonna be boxes. Just make it tidy and make sure that people can see how big the garage is. So don't pack it floor to ceiling.
Yeah.
But if you need to put a couple pieces of furniture out there, then that's perfectly acceptable.
I think every house I photograph that's occupied gets very a sheepish expression. It's like, you're not gonna go in the garage, right? And I'm like, people will understand that you're moving.
Yeah,
It's okay.
and it's a garage.
Yeah,
They don't
it's a
expect
garage.
perfection.
They want to know if it's a 1 or 2 car garage, but I can tell that story from the exterior photo.
Did that answer your question? Okay.
So to kind of get back to the question we had on Zoom, on my end for pricing, I generally price my photos by square footage. So common house sizes fall into different tiers. For videos, I do a flat add-on fee. For floor plans, I do a flat add-on fee. And then for Matterport, I just have 2 tiers. If the house is smaller than 3,000 square feet, it's one price. If it's bigger, it's another price. We're gonna get more into pricing here in just a few minutes. So, but I think on my end, your average investment is probably gonna be somewhere between $99 to $199 for the photos. And then if you add on other things, they're not as big of add-ons typically. So I think the most expensive things I do are probably $400 or so. So it's a little bit different. But yeah, I like to be at the same dress for longer. So keeps me from driving all over the triangle because the triangle is quite large. So when you buy photo plus video plus floor plan, it makes me happy, and I like to incentivize that. So I have packages I can get into at the end.
And it definitely, I mean, it definitely pays off.
It does.
Did you say floor plan?
So I do a detailed floor plan measured to compliance with NC Real Estate Commission. You can get the whole total livable square footage as well as the location of fixtures, counters, windows, doors.
Sort of trying to listen on Zoom, sorry.
Oh, it's okay.
That's
Do
okay.
you guys do Matterport as well?
Yep,
Okay,
I do.
so video.
Yep. So like she said earlier, she's one of the few that does all four.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
that's why she's amazing. I think we picked each other.
We
It was
did.
a natural.
It was, at the time, my pretty color has faded out, but we both had purple hair the first day we met. And we're like,
Yeah. We're like, she's my people.
yes. And then we found out our birthdays are 2 days apart. We're like,
Wow.
yeah.
We won't talk about how many years between those birthdays, but
We knew we were.
I wanted to backtrack a little bit because I realized I didn't say, even though it's 0.5 to 1%, a typical staging job on average is about 2,500 to 5,000. 5,000 being that top end. Now you give me a $2 million home, it's gonna be more than that, but that sweet spot of $500,000 to $800,000, that's probably where we're gonna be at.
And when
Just
you're
to give you an
speaking to
idea.
your client as an agent, trying to, I think how the comment on Zoom phrase it was, how do we sell this to the homeowner? I need to add.
Oh, I know how. My last client just got $75,000 over list.
That'll do it.
Drop the mic, walk away. I'm just kidding, don't walk
That's
away.
true. That's real.
But seriously, like staging and photography is making the difference even in this market that is absolutely crazy. I'm afraid to ask this question because hopefully my guess is correct, but average over list price around, anybody kind of know?
I mean, like I instantly go to 4% over, like and still lose.
Mhm.
So what's that number? Like what the last one maybe?
Oh, so like 4% over 300,000, so you get 10K at least.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not even to speak of due
So-
diligence you offered, right?
So let's be nice and let's say most houses right now going 10 to 20,000 over list.
Mhm.
Do you think? My staged homes are going for 50 to 75,000 over list. Okay, so when agents tell me, oh, I don't even know if it's worth it to stage, I question that because my results are still so much higher,
Mhm.
right? And it's not just that they're getting those higher numbers. Oh, well, maybe that's a more expensive home. No, I'm looking at per square foot prices as well, right? The neighborhood is selling for 198 per square foot. Mine sold for 256. Another one, the neighborhood sold for 168 per square foot. Plus or minus $2. Like everybody is in that same number, but mine went for 196. So we're getting way better results having those homes staged, for sure. So that's how you sell it, right? Your investment, I get it. It's an investment. Yes, I get it. That's going to cost a little bit of money, but it's going to make the difference between $20,000 over list to $50,000 over list. You're going to get your money back 10 times over. I don't know if I did that math right.
And then adding in the branding piece of it.
For you,
Yes.
that all of this you can use, right? Okay, I'm gonna tell you a little secret of what I did when I first started. I took a gazillion pictures of the very first home I staged. Gazillion. I posted one at a time.
Yep.
Oh, just did this house. Guess what? The next week, I just did this house, and the next week, I just did this. They're all the same house. I'm not stupid, right? Now, I really can go through and list a bunch of different houses because we're busy enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, use them over and over and over again. Size them down and do something a little bit different and talk about color or talk about whatever it is you want to talk about.
Mhm.
But crop those things down and use it again.
Mhm. And we could probably do a whole other presentation on marketing
Oh.
and harnessing social
You guys aren't
media.
going anywhere,
She's like,
right?
yes, yes, yes.
We will be doing that.
We got another hour.
We'll
We can
just
just,
pitch that on the way out. We'll come back to the next one.
there you go. So did we finish? Okay, so here we are. We're making you look like the hero, right? Again, your secret weapon. I think I'm stuck. I don't think that's the last one, right?
Nope.
I think the battery died. Oh, sorry.
No, it's moving now. I was clicked in Zoom, not presentation.
Oh,
It should be
that's
good
why.
now.
Okay, sorry.
Difficulties.
Technical. Here's some of the staging statistics. I struggle with that word every time. I'm sorry. But you can see this is the industry, like this is what's happening in the whole industry of staging, right? My statistics prove that as well. 90% of my clients are selling their homes at or above list price in under 14 days. And if they do it right the first time, it really is under 48 hours. Okay, especially right now.
Mhm.
Okay. Now, lots of people turn me down, of course, right? Because they think, oh, that's too expensive. It's not worth the investment. I don't believe you. I know what I'm doing. I've sold 2 houses before. You hear all these things, right? They don't believe me. Okay, fine. Guess what? I'm going to go stalk you. I'm going to see what happened to your listing. 90% of the people that turned me down suffered days on market over 60 and took significant price cuts well over my staging investment that I proposed. Just happens all the time.
Can I add in a story on that too?
Of course you can. I
So
don't know what the story is.
you'll recognize the
Okay.
story. So this is true for staging. This is true for photos. This was probably 3 years ago. So this was not the current market conditions. I got a request to go to a house. I'm like, la la la, what a cute neighborhood. Oh, this is a brand new house. What a great house. And so I'm in, and at this time I was working for somebody else. This was a couple of years ago. And the person I was working for was like, just look at the realtor.com listing before you go in. You're going to be shocked. And I was like, what has happened? So I look and I'm in the house, like admiring, like the house had been lived in for like 6 months and the family like PCS somewhere else. They had to leave the house quickly. I'm sure it was after them because it was a beautiful house. So, the floor is immaculate, kitchen, beautiful, great light, very nice size, great neighborhood, new subdivision, great amenities, la la la. And I'm like, well, why are we here if the house is already on the market? I don't understand. She's like, oh, look at the realtor.com listing. And the house had been on the market for 3 weeks without a single offer. And the agent had already cut the price by the time I got there. I think she cut it by 5%, maybe. Yeah, again, like brand new house. And the photos, there were 4 photos for this house online. One was like crooked of the front. There was one picture of a half bath with all the lights off. And then there was another that was like kind of like selfie angle of the living room. And I'm like, oh, one of these. So I go through, I do my thing, send them back to the client. House was under contract 72 hours later.
Wow.
And like I said, my photo services, fall in the couple $100 range. So if we'd done it right the first time, they probably wouldn't have had to drop that house by $5,000. So now we're really talking about just don't do that to yourself. Don't do that to your client. It's stressful. Leave your house ready for on the market. There's just so many reasons to not let us help you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I actually have a similar story that I have to share. Because it was a house in my neighborhood. I happened to run across it. Been sitting on the market for 300 days in Cary again, right? And I'm like, wow, I can't have this in my, my neighboring neighborhood, right? Right close to me. This is going to affect my home value. 300 days. So I approached them. I don't do cold calls, right? Like that scares me. But I cold called this one. I said, listen, I'm your neighbor. I need to come over and help you. So went over, did kind of this 1 hour consultation. In the pictures, the front door was purple. Y'all know I love purple, but it didn't look good on a front door. Because that door was purple, when you walk in, the gray walls looked purple. It was terrible. They just chose the wrong paint color. Okay. So I gave him some ideas on how to update this and convinced him to stage the home. Meanwhile, in that 300 days, he hadn't gotten any offers. Unfortunately, because it had sat on the market for 300 days, they still needed to lower that price. But once we got it staged and they got the new pictures up, finally offers start coming in, right? But he took a hit because he didn't do it right the first time, right? And that's the key, right? Don't say, oh, I'm going to see what happens, and if it doesn't sell, I'll call you later. You're too late.
Yeah.
You're too late. Days on market is a red flag. I know you guys all know that, right? It's telling the buyer something must be wrong. 300 days, I was happy when that was gone in 3 weeks, because I was like, wow, that was a huge accomplishment, even though it doesn't do anything for my stats, right? But we got it sold. So, and staging did that for them, and the professional photographer, thank goodness. So, it is your fiduciary responsibility to serve your clients. What's the word? Oh, and to serve in their best interest. Sorry, I was gonna say something a little wonkier and that wasn't gonna work, but you wanna make sure you're doing everything that you possibly can. You're offering them everything that they need. They need us, right? So don't deny them of that service, because our stats are there. This is what we do. We get people more money for their homes. Depend on us. When you guys walk in and say, I'm gonna have a member of my team come in and talk to you about home staging, the photographer on my team is gonna come in and take these professional photos. My team, you're a big shot. Who doesn't wanna be a big shot? Be a big shot, okay? Whether you're new or not, doesn't matter. Do you have anything to say about that, or are we good?
No, we can go to the next one.
Okay.
I'll save it.
Go for it.
Well, we're kind of.
Oh, I guess we're done.
We're kind of.
I feel like we left something out there.
I know that. I feel like we did leave
I
something.
thought there was another one.
Well,
Or
I
did we
guess
skip
we'll
some?
we'll
But-
go ahead and take a second to ask for any questions. Do y'all have any questions you want us to go ahead and address before we maybe talk about marketing a little? Yeah.
Please.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I do. Okay, so I've had experience with listing presentations, and we get in there and I don't ever know like the time frame to tell them. So now my conversation is going to be, I'm going to have my team member Sheree. She's going to come in here. She's going to walk us through what her thoughts are on staging the property. So what does that look like from that conversation, getting you in there and staging and getting it listed? Well, you said 48 hours for photos and videos,
Right.
which was good.
Right.
And then
So when you get that listing, your next call is to me, right?
And then she calls me
Ju-
later.
Yeah, and I'll call her later and we'll start getting some stuff set up if you choose to do the package deal.
That's what we left out.
That's what we left.
We'll finish. We'll finish.
hallelujah.
Y'all, we aren't like great presenters, but we know how to present a house. We got that going for us. Thank you. Yeah, we didn't have a slide in there. We may have
deleted it.
clicked back. No, we may have clicked forward when we were
Maybe.
in Zoom somehow, who knows, so, sorry.
So she calls you.
Yes, so I'm the first call. Thank you. I want to get in the door right away, right? Don't make promises to your clients. Oh, yes, we can get it listed in a week and a half.
Okay.
Because guess what? When I get in the door, they're gonna be like, you just gave me a month's worth of work.
Mhm.
Oh,
Mhm.
Yep, because if you want to get the most money for your home, you've got to take care of all of this stuff. You've got to get more stuff moved out than you think you've got to get moved out.
mhm.
Mhm.
Lots of things need to happen,
Mhm.
right? Like, I am there for 2 hours. Maybe it doesn't sound like a long time, but oh my gosh, I can talk for 2 hours like it's nobody's business, okay? I do better with smaller crowds, and I'm kind of glad there's only a few people here. Otherwise, if it was everybody on Zoom and, oh, I really, so now that's recorded. Thank you very much.
Forever.
Yes, I'm real, okay? I
it.
am real. You guys pay me to tell the truth,
Mhm.
and you are getting the truth
Yeah.
right now, and you get it in person, right? I am very gentle with my clients, okay? I'm not gonna necessarily act that way in front of the
Yeah.
clients, but I am very gentle, and I am aware of their feelings and their attachments to the home, okay?
Mhm.
I had an elderly woman, she was like, oh, but this, some cabinet, it just meant so much to her. And she really wanted to keep it in the home to show because she thinks it's gonna be beautiful. And she tells me the story, and I said, oh my goodness, this is irreplaceable, isn't it? And she says, yes, it is. And I said, well, then with that being said, because it was terrible, right? Sorry, but it was just terrible that telling her that. I said, with that being said, I think you're better off putting that in storage because, oh my God, it would break my heart to know that one of the kids came into the open house and did this.
Yeah.
And she says, oh, you're right. You're a genius. Thank you. Instant trust. She did everything else I said. Okay, so I'm gaining that trust with them right away because I'm speaking to them. There's other people that I can tell them, hey, I want this house to be so clean that it looks like nobody ever peed in that toilet. Right? Sounds ridiculous and it's funny, but it'll get a chuckle, especially out of the husbands if they're kind of jokey with me, right? So again, trust. I won't say that to her. I wouldn't have said that to the elderly woman because I think she'd be like horrified. Right? But I know how to read people's emotions and their personality so that I can speak to them in the way that they want to be spoken to. Some people, very direct. Some people, very gentle. I have the ability to do that. So, don't know how I went off on that tangent, but get me in right away. And that is going to determine when you're going to actually be able to list the home.
And we really encourage you to do it that way rather than be like, we're listing this day, do what you can.
Yeah.
The result is never as good.
It's just not. Like, I'll work my magic as much as I possibly can, but if you're calling me in, can you come in tomorrow to photo prep this house that I didn't do a consultation on because the photographer's coming in 2 days later? I'm going to do what I can.
Yeah.
I'll make some magic happen, but man, I could have done a lot more.
And that said, we understand that maybe sometimes your client asks you
Sure.
for a listing presentation and they have the wrong timeline in their head. And we understand that happens and we, like I said, we do what we can.
Yeah, and there's emergencies too, right?
Yep,
Like it's
yep.
we gotta get this house sold right now. We can't wait. I get that too.
Yeah.
So we're just trying to give you the best
Yep.
scenario. So if the homeowners, you know for sure, like they're gonna be moving out because they bought a new home or they're going across the country and the house is gonna be vacant, it's best if I can have 2 weeks notice. Right now I'm booked 3 weeks out. I can fit a few things in, but that's how far out I'm booked for the most part. I'm literally like, when people are calling me right now to stage in the next 3 weeks, I'm squeezing them in and I'm calling my other stagers like, hey, can you give me an extra day? Because we got to get some more houses staged.
So that's for the consultation,
No, that's for the vacant stage.
vacant stage, okay.
Consultations, I can usually squeeze those in here and there.
Okay.
Because even if there's a stage happening, I know that I can go do a consultation maybe in the morning and then head back over to the stage and finalize the stage with the team. Because I like to be, as the owner of the company, I like to be at every single vacant stage job and give that final seal of approval, make sure that it's exactly what I want and exactly how I envisioned, right? And if it's not right, I'm sending the truck back to get more furniture or whatever it is, or more art, to come back and make it right.
Which is why we have put together our collaboration designed to handle all this as seamlessly as possible. And I think that's the piece we left out. So
Yes.
do you want to go ahead and talk about it? Okay.
I've been talking too much.
So one thing that the reason why we're doing this presentation together is because we figured out that we work well together. We figured out a good strategy that does the best job of making you guys look like superheroes for your listing clients. So there's an option to book us together, whether you reach out to her first or me first, communicate it. I would recommend you probably reach out to Cherie first because of what she just said. You know, once you have that listing appointment, once the paper's signed, call her so she can get started because more is better for you, for sure. More time is better.
More time is better.
More time is better. But one thing we want to do for you guys as agents is we know you're the middleman for like every single piece of every single transaction and your phone is going off all the time and you've got all kinds of stuff going on. So we handle the communication from that point to try to help make it easier on you. Cherie calls me after she talks to you if they've gone for the photo plus consultation package that we've put together. She's like, all right, we got a consultation on this day, I'm staging on that day, you're coming in the next day.
This is, yes.
And to that point, the reason why we've designed it that way is because of what Cherie just said. She said if it's not just right, she wants the flexibility to be able to go back and get something else. She doesn't want me like haunting her doorstep as she's rolling the truck out of the driveway.
Yeah.
That's kind of stressful for
Yeah.
the staging.
I do
side.
ask for, especially for a typical home, I do ask for the whole day to stage it.
Yep.
We're probably gonna finish in the middle of the day, but just in case.
Just in case.
Right, just in case there's something that just doesn't go quite right, or somebody breaks down, or it starts pouring down rain and we need to unload the truck. kind of want to wait. That's an expense on my part because I have to pay my guys a little bit longer, but I'd rather pay them a little bit longer than have my stuff get soaked. So Mother Nature, accidents, and mishaps.
And if you end up, if we don't come together as a piece, I can usually respond to a request for a listing photos in 24 to 48 hours, but it's really best when I can be in there 48 hours prior to going active for those reasons I talked about earlier.
Does that answer the question?
It does. It helps me tremendously.
Yay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Any other questions?
I have a couple.
Yes.
How long do you typically leave a home staged after it goes under contract?
That's a great question. Thank you very much. So for those of you on Zoom, just in case you didn't hear, she's asking how long we keep the home staged. So whether we're talking about owner occupied or vacant, you want to make sure that home still looks in tip-top condition through due diligence. Okay. Of course, right now, things probably aren't falling into due diligence. We're talking about a typical market. Okay. But keep it in, if I'm bringing in my inventory, I say we're going to keep it in there until past due diligence. And I will take it out sometimes in due diligence and closing, right? I don't want to take it out the day before closing. That's cutting it too close because again, Mother Nature and my own schedule, right? I try and go somewhere in the middle there as much as possible wherever my schedule allows. But also we want to make sure for that final inspection that everything is out of the home so they can do a proper inspection. I think I
Do you want to
answered
tell
that question.
why you leave past due diligence?
Oh, well, we don't want it to fall out of contract.
Yes.
And you don't want to fall out of contract and put it back in the market. And guess what? All that staging inventory is gone. You don't want to pay me to come back again.
Yeah.
Like, no, just keep it. So when I do my proposals, I've decided now that I just include, it's up to 60 days that the furniture, art, and accessories stay in the home is up to 60 days. Because even if the home sells in 48 hours, which most of them do, we still want to keep, through due diligence. A lot of times they're still going into that second month anyways. So the way that I've priced it as I'm really only charging them a month and I'm giving them their second month for free.
Good.
I probably need to change that.
Great.
I know you guys like that.
What if they go
But
past the 2 months?
what's that?
What if they go past?
If they go past the 2 months, then all they're paying for in addition is just the additional monthly rent. So on average, maybe $500. It's not another $2,000 to $5,000. It's just, and that varies, right? It's just a smaller percentage. On average, it ends up being about 25% of that initial investment, approximately.
Okay. And I have one more question. Do you recommend that we as the agent be there when you're there, or do you recommend that not? And how do, I'll wait for the next question.
Okay, so for a consultation, there really is no need for you to be there. I try to make sure that I am talking to you ahead of time. Hey, what are your concerns about the home? What have you already told them to do so I can make sure that I'm backing you up? Either that, or I can tell you, no, that's a terrible idea. I'm just kidding. I'm not gonna say it's a terrible idea, but I'm gonna tell you maybe why you shouldn't do that, or hey, I'm gonna, like, this is maybe a better way, right? But I don't ever want to go into a consultation and say something and have them say, oh, my agent said something completely different, and then be shocked. I might say, oh, Lisa and I talked about this, but I actually think I have a better idea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right? So I'm still making you, I'm supporting you 100%. So do you need to be there for the consult? Honestly, no.
Okay.
And there's a couple of reasons, because a lot of times the agents will interject, or the client is asking the agent questions, and meanwhile I'm sitting there and I'm like,
Right.
you guys got me 2 hours.
Yeah.
Like, the clock is ticking. We don't have time to waste.
Makes sense.
Right? So I always feel like on those ones, I'm cutting them short and I can't give them all the details that they need to know because I couldn't get through the whole house.
Mm-hmm.
That just happened recently. It was a 5,000 square foot home. And there was a lot of stuff in there. She didn't warn me quite that I wasn't warned properly, or else I would have said this is probably going to need to be a 3-hour consultation, but I was already booked for another consult right after, so I couldn't even stay. So sometimes I have agents that know they know to tell me to, hey, it is a larger home. If you need a third hour, just tell me and bill me for the extra hour, right? When I have that relationship with you, I'm happy to do that and just wait to see if I really need it. But a 5,000 square foot home, I'm gonna need an extra hour, please. So that one would be $3.99 for that extra hour. But yeah, to answer your question, no, you don't need to be there. And on stage day, same thing. We in our contract, we ask for no people or pets outside of our team to be in the home. It is a liability issue for me. So, because if anything happens and I'm there on the job, like, I just don't want to go there.
And it's less of a liability issue for me, but I actually prefer to be the only one there when I'm doing my Matterport video, photo, whole deal as well, because that Matterport can see everything.
True.
So if we're just all playing like hide and seek, but there's more than me, inevitably I catch somebody's foot or something.
Right?
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
And one other question I have is, do you have any recommendations for the client when you're doing the consultation, for them to remember everything that you're suggesting?
I'm glad you said that. I think that I had a folder that I bring in. It's their staging report. In that folder, there's paper for them to take notes.
Okay.
So I encourage them to say, get out your paper and pen. Like, I can write this for you, but the more you write, the more I talk. The more I talk, the more you know. The more you know, the better you sound like that book, right? So it just works out better. And sure enough, I mean, sometimes it's a husband and wife, and so one is taking notes. That kind of works out really well too, so that one can continue to write notes, and she's literally writing the entire time because I am talking that much.
That's great. I offer to watch their kids when you come.
Oh, really?
So we'll see if they take us up on that, but.
That's
Nice.
generous, that's generous.
And if you're in a situation where gonna go for an occupied listing, I have a couple of handouts and things you can send directly to your client for some things they can do that are easy, like make sure the backyard is tidy, make sure the carpets are vacuumed.
I mean, we need to talk about that actually, because we need to come up to that together so they can put that right in their folder as well. I have a lot of stuff already there, but yeah, we can collaborate on that. I didn't even realize you did that. So we're still getting to know each other, like how awesome she is.
Communication is good. I value communication.
Yeah. Yeah. Any other questions? Okay. How about you guys on Zoom? Do I have any other questions?
Yeah, I've got one about photography.
Okay.
Go for it.
If you're going through a house and you see like pillows are falling over on the couch, or it doesn't look like it should, do you adjust that, or do you just keep rolling?
I typically adjust it. Last spring, when we were all very scared of COVID and we were locked down and everything, I was not doing that, but that was an exception. I go through and I wear gloves and ask for permission to touch and finagle. But that's why I send that prep sheet too, because I like it when, I know the homeowner can only do so much. But yeah, I'll go through and I'll tidy the curtains, move pillows, I'll hide trash cans for the photos. And then sometimes, you have like doors that won't quite stay open. I'll be like doing like this, like holding the door open with my foot. Yeah, I handle that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And
Great, thanks.
good point. When I do the photo prep, what I call a photo prep service, I like to do the photo prep in the morning where I kick the homeowners out, let me do my thing, right? Because I've told you where to put all the big furniture. So I don't have to do any more heavy lifting. But sometimes I do, still sore about that one. It hurts. But I'll go through and I'm manipulating their accessories and I'm hanging their art and I'm doing that, like working with their items. She's coming in literally the same day. So no kids, no kids are coming in messing up the beds. Yeah. So she knows when she gets there, she doesn't have to touch anything because the house is already perfect.
Did you have another add-on, Kyle?
No, I was just saying thank you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you for your question.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Any other questions on Zoom over there?
No.
I see somebody's talking, but that's you. Oh, it is
Oh,
me.
it's us
Okay.
talking. Thank you.
No questions. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Did I miss the most on package?
Did you miss it? We might have. Let's go over it one more time.
Sure.
Specifically. So, no, it's
That's
okay.
okay.
It's okay. So the package that we have put together includes my big package, which is all 4 of those services that I mentioned: photo, video, Matterport measurement, plus her consultation packaged together. Where I think those services on their standalone would be $700. Some like that. So we put it together, and it's a discounted package. It's $650 instead when you book it together. And then we like to tell our agents as well, not only are you getting the pricing discount, but you're pretty much being like, have fun. And then you don't have to think about it. You don't have to follow up with us. We follow up with you instead. We arrange the schedule. We communicate internally if there are scheduled changes. So we try to really put it together for it to be easy on y'all.
Yeah. So that works out well when I'm doing the consultation and a photo prep, or I'm doing a vacant stage. If all I'm doing is a consultation and they don't have me come back for a photo prep, then that is a little bit harder for me because I don't know when they're going to finish necessarily. So that's a little harder for us to communicate. But if I'm doing the photo prep as well, so I do encourage you, especially if there's a stay-at-home mom situation or elderly that you know they physically can't do it, or it's just, right away, this is going to be overwhelming for them. Encourage them to have me come back and do that photo prep for them, where I'm manipulating their items, because what I can do in 3 or 4 hours would take them 3 to 4 weeks.
And there's so much stress for them too.
It is. It's very stressful for them. They don't necessarily have the stager eye or the design eye, whatever we want to call it, and the experience, because again, I do this every day, right? I know what works. I know that I can literally make a centerpiece out of your dishes and dish towels and the chicken.
The chicken.
I'm not going to put my chicken story on the video. But if you guys want to know my chicken story, you got to go through Instagram and find me. First Impression Home Staging, LLC. That's how you're going to find me on Instagram, on Facebook. My website is firstimpressionhomestaging.com.
You guys have cards?
We do.
We have cards here. Okay. Keep in mind, impression is singular because you only have one chance to make a great first impression. Okay.
For me, I am jrphotography.commercial on social media for my real estate stuff. I do a couple other things as a photographer, so that's how you'll find my real estate stuff. jrphotography.commercial on social media. And my website is jrphotographync, as in North Carolina.com. And we do have business cards if you want them, for those of you who are live in person.
Yeah. And I'm going to have Jessica. Oh, no, I'm not. I'm sorry. If you guys can send us all of your info, or I'll get it from Jessica. I have a marketing flyer that talked about a lot of those statistics that I put up there earlier, that you can show that at your listing presentation. Okay. And talk to them. And maybe I'll brand it. I didn't even think about it. Brand it with yours as well, and maybe put the Keller Williams brand on there as well. Like have it all co-branded so they can see. Like we might be 3 different companies, but again, team.
We're a team. Exactly.
Right. We are absolutely a team.
Yep.
Yes, Lisa.
What is the charge on the photo prep? Like if we could come back after the consultation?
That's too hard to say. I would say it starts at $449.
Okay.
It depends on, do they need me to bring items in?
Yeah.
Do I just need to be there for 2 hours? If I need to be there for just 2 hours and not bring anything, then I'm probably just going to charge the consultation rate. But is there really do I need to be there for a full day? Do I need to bring my team in? Like, did they need help moving some of that furniture? Right? We just did one. Yeah, I just did one last week. I wasn't prepared to be moving furniture. Had I realized, I would have brought my guys with me. So meanwhile, it was just me, and I was helping lift the sofa down to the basement and bring the one from the basement up. This is still sore. I have my guys for a reason. So yeah, it all depends on the situation. So I price each home for a vacant based on the home, right? I price each photo prep based on the needs. So I don't want to undercharge and not pay my team. I don't want to overcharge and make it not worth it for them.
Okay.
So, but I do encourage you to have your clients have you come back. for a lot of different reasons. So, and does, again, it makes your life easier because now you know that when the photographer comes, the pictures are gonna look great.
Yeah.
And you're not gonna have to count on the homeowner to make it look great when they don't really have the eye. They don't, like, I do my best and I'll set up accessories as best as I can for them, but sometimes I don't even have time to do that because there's just a lot happening.
And those listing photos turn into Facebook ads way better when the photo prep has happened.
Right,
I mean, I
right.
speak from experience running my own Facebook ads for my own business. And before I met Sheree, I thought, oh, the vacant house is always, you know, that's what I've got a lot of. That's what I'll run on my ad. They just look wrong. Like they look empty and gloomy. So, like I said, if you're coming in for the package, it's just like such a big investment.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Vacant homes for buyers are an opportunity to try and get that home at, to nitpick, right? But they want to get that home at the best price possible, right? Because it's a business transaction, whereas a staged home becomes an emotional connection and an emotional purchase, and they're going to do anything that they can to make sure they get that home, which means they're going to spend more. And they're going to be happy. We're not trying to rip them off. We're giving them a product that they love. And now they can see the potential. And because I went through and did all of that consultation and had made sure that they did all the right things, they're moving into a home that doesn't need any work.
Yep. And kind of like a comment was made earlier, it's like if you go through that way and you buy a house that was staged, even if you pay some above list price, now you know what to do with all of your space too. And that's a really pretty invaluable thing for the experience of moving into the new house for your clients.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, something like that. You're good. Okay. It's hard to read facial expressions when people have masks on. So on that, I think we're good, unless there's any other questions. Zoom one more time. I don't think so. Doesn't sound like it. So you all know how to get a hold of us. We'll make sure we get something maybe sent out to you here pretty soon as well, because this is for everybody. And I'm sure we'll be back to talk to you again. Those of you on Zoom, I hope we get to meet you in person soon. And
Definitely.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you all so much. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Bye.